Hi guys, time is of essence, so let's cut to the chase. I'm going to show you how to create an empowering environment. Right now, more than ever, as a practice and business owner, it's becoming more challenging to create an environment that teams want to stay in. In fact, here's some statistics. Recently, in the last couple of years, 20% of people have left their workplace. Now, what was the main reason that they left? Well, what was interesting is about 80% of people left looking for either a different career or career advancement. And here's the other interesting statistic. 42% of those that left graded their business that they worked at with a C or less in culture of communication, which culture of connectedness, which essentially meant there was no communication there. So what's the takeaway from this? Now more than ever, good staff, good people, good professionals are jumping from one workplace to another, looking for an environment that's ticking the human needs of a workplace. And often as business owners, it's a little bit confusing, like you're scratching your head, right? Thinking, I think I've done everything right. Let me map out, because there's 5 particular areas based in human psychology that if you provide these areas in a workplace, it is what's considered an empowering environment, which will A, attract more people to your business, and B, when they stay there, it will allow them to grow more, stay longer, and of course, they're the people that are really, really valuable in your organization. So, honestly, everyone wins. So let's map this out and look at the 5 different areas. Now, if you want, I'd recommend that you downloaded this sheet. You can go, we sent an email yesterday, you can go back, click it, download it, and work this through, because this is something you should stick up in your workplace and ask yourself every day, how am I going in these 5 areas? This is kind of your roadmap to creating an empowering environment. First area, clarity. People need clarity around where are we going? Why? What's our why? What's the reason we're doing this? Something that's a deeper driver than just to get paid. What is my role in it? And how do I do it? So this is giving someone clarity. Do you know that one of the main reasons that people left workplace, if they left less than 6 months, they said my induction, I just really didn't have any clarity around what was the runway for me. I didn't really understand my role, what I was doing, I didn't get the training. Clarity. You need that in a workplace. What's that come down to? Communication from the top of the business to every single other person in the business of where we're going. The second thing that you're going to need in a team environment that's empowering is what we call the team rules. So the team rules, if you think about a metaphor of playing football, we just said, right, there's a ball, there's some goals, get across it any which way you can. That's fair chaos, right? Maybe that describes some businesses you know. I'm sure it's not yours, but some businesses that you know. If we're going to play a game, and business is a game, we actually have to have some guiding or some founding rules that we understand what are the parameters we're playing within, which essentially means in the workplace, how should I turn up each and every day? What's okay, what's not okay, what's expected of me? Now, your team rules is pretty much driven, the starting place is understanding your values. Now, I know everyone does their values in some weird mission statement that's about, you know, half a war and peace long, and they stick it up somewhere. And then I go and ask people, I say, hey, have you done your values? They go, yeah, big fat tick, done my values. And my next question is, what are they? And they start looking around and going, oh, I've got it here somewhere, and they're flicking through. Useless. Values should be something that you know, bang, instantly. And really, it should come down to 2 or 3 values, that's it. That's it. You know, one of our top values, or our top value is integrity with yourself and others. Now, once you've figured out what your values are, then you can come up with your rules. So what does your rules look like? These are how we choose to engage. So for example, we might have something you might have heard me talking about, above and below the line, that we choose to play above the line of responsibility. So integrity with yourself and others, what does that look like, playing above the line? What's our behaviour that matches that? Well, the behaviour is, if I say I'm going to do something, I will do that. I'll do it when I say it. If I don't, I'll communicate that back. And if something happens that was my responsibility and I didn't do it, I won't blame anyone. I will assume responsibility that we find a way to make it work. What comes out of this? Trust. Every business that has put this in finds that they have a higher performing team because they've got each other's back. What's another team rule you might come up with? Well, we're a big one on feedback culture. So we're a feedback culture. Why? Because we want to improve the business and we want you as an individual to improve. So we're going to give you some feedback. How should that feedback be given? How should that feedback be received? Team rules. Another team rule might be that we have what's called radical candor. This is one of Jack Welch's, who was the CEO of GE for 20 years, considered one of the greatest business leaders for a long time. Radical candor, what's that? I'm just going to tell you the truth. Now, integrity with yourself and others. So do you see, if you have really strong values at the top, just 2 to 3, all your team rules will fit in with that. Great, so there's some example. Now obviously this looks pretty simple, yeah. There is a process to getting the right values, and there's a step-by-step process that takes about 20 minutes to teach and around about 2 hours to drag out of your team, that you'll end up with something that your team go, yeah, we agree that that's the way that we want to play the game. And then every time someone new comes in, it's very clear, hey, here's some rules that we play by. Number 1, we play above the line. Number 2, we're a feedback culture. Number 3, radical candor. Number 4, we have a rule of progression, not perfection. So we're all looking to slowly get better all the time. Yeah? Awesome. So, creating this empowered environment. The third area that we're looking for, and this is a biggie, this is a really big one, is communication. What is the communication in the practice like? Now, what sort of communication are we looking for? Well, there's different types of communication. Number 1, back here, where are we going and why? This is communication. This is communication. But there's some specific things I want you to think about here. Number 1, well, we've talked about, I'm going to change pen colour now because I realise it's all getting a bit confusing there. I want this to be nice and simple for you. So number 1 with communication, this is a biggie. And you're going to hear me keep saying this again and again and again, is giving feedback. How did I do? What could I do better? Thank you for giving me that feedback. This is how humans evolve. This is how humans get better. This is why as a species that we've done so incredibly well. We have a desire for growth. Every human being has it. How do we get growth? How do we know if we're actually getting growth? Well, we need feedback. So communication is really important. And also what's important is, what's your frequency? What's the frequency of communication? As a team, in a minimal, once every week to 2 weeks, team meeting. Good practices should be doing a 24-hour frequency, which means they're doing a team huddle once a day. And there's a process to doing a team huddle that works incredibly well. Do you know there was a study done on the highest performing teams in history? He was a journalist who was just going to write an article on it. And what he wanted to know is, what was it that made these the best performing teams? And he started going back and studying these just teams that were even from unheard of countries, and suddenly bang, they're the top in the world. What was the commonality? And he found a few things. It turned into a 10-year study. Number 1, it wasn't the players. They had good players, but what was outstanding was their captain. Not even the coach, it was the captain. They had an outstanding captain. What was one of the characteristics of this captain? Generally, they weren't the best player on the team. Often they were kind of like almost in servitude to the team, and they saw themselves as serving the team. What was their job? And what did they find that they all had in common? Very, very high communicators. How are you going? Hey, good job, well done. Can you pick that job up? Hey, come on, we need to step up there. Bang, 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 bang. best businesses, they have high frequency of communication feedback that people are just bang, how are we going, how are we going, we're checking in, we're checking in. So, thinking about your frequency of communication, what's that like? And by the way, if you want to assess yourself, just go along and give yourself a 1 to 10, how well am I doing all these areas? Obviously, if we're going to work with a business, we're going to take you through every area of this and assess how you're doing, then help you give strategies and process to build it, which is why success is inevitable. It's just the time it takes. Okay, the third thing is, how do you give it? How do you give feedback? Right now, my son has a really great coach who communicates in a poor way. So although his intent is pure, the way he's communicating, the team are not picking up this way. In fact, they just think he's hard and he's cruel on them. Now, he's a very, very distinguished coach, but he's working with 10-year-olds. And so how he's communicating them is not working. So there's a skill set on understanding people and how you deliver, how you communicate in a way that actually makes people feel good about themselves. I'll give you one little sneak tip here. If you want someone to really step up, you need to make them feel significant. Now, significant might be, I really appreciate you. You just stepped up today, well done. That makes them feel significant. They feel valued and significant. Another one might be, you're the best I've ever seen on a phone. Now, what happens? They're going to try harder and harder and harder to do that. So how? We want people to feel significant, but of course, there's times we're going to need to give feedback as well. So there's a process of how you do that. And there's one other one on here is celebration. Now, I had to learn this. I had to learn celebration because here's what I do. I'm a fast growth kind of guy. I want things pumping along, and what would happen, I'd climb one hill and I'd go, great, where's the next hill to climb? And the team were like, my gosh, we just can't win with you. Like, we've done really well. Let's stop. Let's savor the view. Let's appreciate what we've done. This is important. This is what we do. I do more and more of this now to say, guys, we're going for the hills that we can't even see yet. Well done. Fantastic. Let's stop and celebrate. Let's appreciate what we've done here. This is really, really important. Okay, so moving along. The next area of creating an empowering environment is humans need to feel like they are growing. One of the 4 elements of human happiness, one of those is the perception that you're growing. Now, growth is, what can growth could be like? You can get the sense that you're growing, like, say, for example, if you go to the gym and you start feeling fitter, you feel like you're getting growth. Or maybe you've got some more friends, you feel like you've got some more friends. You feel like you're growing. Not sure it applies to Facebook friends, but because it's pretty easy to bump those ones up. So humans have a hardwired desire for growth. If they don't feel like they're growing, they're going to move on because one of their needs is not being met. Now watch this, because think about this. The research that I've just gave you and the statistics at the start of this, 80% of people were looking for career advancement or a change. They want growth and they're not getting in their current workplace. This is really important to figure out, what do I need to do to grow these people? Now obviously people have different growth trajectories, but your job as a business owner is to create a structure where they feel like they're growing. Now, what do we need around growth here? Well, number one is we've got to have some education. So finding out what their area of interest is and providing an educational, scenario. Now, here's what's interesting. If you say, oh yeah, you go to any conference you want, for them to stop and think and book it and organise it, it often just doesn't happen. And you as the business owner goes, hey, I give them growth opportunities. They've got this annual week and they just don't do anything with it. Sitting down, discussing with them, what do you think your real zone of genius? Where do you really want to expand into? And of course, this is done in your reviews, your quarterly reviews, or at least biannual reviews that should be done. Communication. And then going, great, what about this, and this conference? Which one of those 3 do you would be best? Great. What about that one? Let's book it now. And if you help provide a structure to somebody, what you're going to find, they'll just follow the steps and suddenly they'll look back and go, look where I've become, just by following the footsteps of that structure. Yeah, that's what really good coaching is just step by step. They feel like little steps, but you look back and you go, wow, look how far I've come. It's like walking up a hill. You're only thinking about one step at a time, but you look back and wow, you can see a long way. So we need to give them educational opportunities. Of course, here it comes again. I'll just shorten it now. You should know this one. It's not Facebook, it's feedback. They've got to have a feedback loop. Now, part of this is what we call our MOM, our method of measurement. So in order for someone to feel like they're growing, humans, it's been studied by psychologists, that humans need evidence of progression. So if you just say, oh, well done, that was a really good day, that feels nice. But if you can actually have some evidence of progression that you're moving forward, that will actually, it makes you feel happier. And if you feel happier, you produce certain chemicals, endorphins, which we become addicted to, and we want more of that. So we try more of the things that made us feel happy. What's a method of measurement? Let's think of some examples. If you go to the gym, a method of measurement could be, I was lifting 10 kilos last week, now I'm doing 12. Wow, that's 2 kilos, they feel about the same heaviness. I must be growing, I must be getting stronger. What else? Method of measurement. Could be watching your bank account go up. Yep, that's a method of measurement. It could be client feedback. Hey, look at the feedback that we're getting here and where it was a year ago. We're moving in the right direction. Fantastic. Keep up the good work. So in order, if you're going to give some education, it could be number of dentals that are being booked in. If you do the dental program that we've got, one of those is the team actually set their own individual KPIs in order that they've got a hill that they want to climb. And you'll see why that works when we do the last element of empowerment. So we need a method of measurement because, and some of these, it could be, here's an example, average transaction value. Hey, this is your average transaction value, and then you look at it a month later and it gets higher. Because in professions, by nature, you're A-type achievers. So you're looking for things that will, you're always looking to improve yourself naturally. There's not too many people turn up to work and go, I'm going to digress today. They just don't do that. Okay, and the last thing, and this is the big one, is belief. Do you actually have belief? Sometimes you've got to believe in someone before they believe in themselves. When I was my first mentor and coach, I wanted to do this thing, build this company called the United Vets Group, and I doubted myself. And he looked at me and I said, can we do this? And he looked me direct in the eyes, and I was looking at him, I didn't blink because I want to see what his reaction is. And I said, can you promise me we'll get there? And he goes, you follow the footsteps, we'll get there. Now, he believed in me before I believed in myself. And sometimes the most empowering thing you can do is to believe in somebody and give them that opportunity. Because a lot of the time they won't even ask for the opportunity because they don't believe in themselves first. And this is great leadership, creating and stretching people to where they didn't think they were even capable of. The last one, we're on the last one now. Is this useful? Give me a big thumbs up if this is useful. Last one is autonomy. Humans have this need for autonomy. You know, a study was done at Cornell University and they studied businesses that were top down. So basically, I'm the boss and I tell you what to do. And they studied businesses that were bottom up, that essentially there was a two-way feedback loop. So the people at the front could basically give feedback and say, this is how we want to do it. Yep, sure, off you go. Here's what they found. Bottom up, so the businesses that would provide with more autonomy grew at double the time, at twice the pace of top-down businesses. Here's the other interesting thing, they had half the staff turnover. Actually, no, it was a third of the staff turnover. So, humans have a desire for autonomy. What does that mean? I feel like I have some control over my situation. I feel like I got some control. Let me give you a few ideas that'll help you in your business of where you can use autonomy. The first one is task. What task do I want to do? A classic is I see nurses stuck on front desk reception. That is just rule breaking 101 because they don't want to be there, but they feel they have no choice. Yep. Where would you rather be? Reception or out the back? Out the back. Great, get them out the back. Zone of genius. They're going to be 1,000 times better than they'd be at the front desk. If you have your nurses rotating on reception, I'm telling you right now, you're decreasing their enjoyment of the job, you're decreasing their growth ability out the back, and you're missing out on someone who's so good at it. Trust me, you get someone who wants to be there. Boom. Business goes through the roof. Number two can be, who's on my team? So let your team actually be part of the recruitment process. Who am I going to get to work with? Well, I have a bit of a say, but if I really don't think someone's a fit, in the recruitment process, I get my chance to say so. The third thing that you can talk about is time. You can give people autonomy over time, as in when they do something. You know, the outcome is non-negotiable and the date that it's finished by is non-negotiable, but if you want to do that at 10 o'clock at night, that's up to you. If you give people autonomy that they feel like, some people are morning people, some people are evening people. My daughter works well at night. I'm a morning dude. My team have complete autonomy. I don't even set hours for them. I even don't know when they work. I don't care. I'm interested in outcome because I give them a lot of autonomy. And this is attractive to someone. You figure out how to build autonomy into your business and tell people this is what you're going to do so you have a sense of autonomy. Trust me, that becomes great in a recruitment process. And the last thing is technique. How do I do something? Rather than going, right, this is the way we do it here, bang, bang, bang. You can do that to a certain extent, but if you can define the outcome of how you want something done and let them figure out the best way to get that outcome, then you're giving them autonomy over the technique. So for example, my nurses said, I think we should do a different surgical prep. I'm like, awesome. You guys research it, you come up with it, and we'll do it your ways. Now, they went on for weeks researching this to the nth degree. I reckon we ended up with the best sterilisation processes in the world. But my team always felt like they had autonomy on how to do something. What we weren't interested in, we were not interested in my way. We were interested in finding the best way. And if you have created this environment of empowerment, your team will want to do that because that's how humans naturally think. I have covered a lot here. This is like a 2 or 3 day session that we normally do. So if you want to know and you're stuck a little bit and you're going, oh gosh, I want a hand creating my empowering environment, sometimes figuring it out by yourself is just the slowest, most expensive, dumbest way to do it. That's what I used to do. I don't do that now. If you want a hand, shoot me an email with just create empowering environment and we'll set up a time chat and we'll see what your start place is some things you could start doing in your workplace right now to create an empowering environment. Guys, till next time, see you later.